started telemark skiing when I was going on 16 years now, and I ended up had an uncle that telemark skied a long time ago in the 70s, and I'd always kind of heard about it, and I grew up cross country skiing, and when I was about 14 years old, I decided to go to the library and check out a book, and found this book called Cross Country Downhill by Steve Barnett. And yeah, it was just kind of all these old hippies showing all these backcountry telemark moves, and you know, skiing deep powder and all these different lines on telemark on these skinny backcountry skis. So I got interested in it and found an old pair of metal edge backcountry skis in my garage that my dad had, and went up to Brighton night skiing. And I remember I took the book with me, and I started out on 210s with leather boots and 3-pin bindings. And that first year was pretty brutal. I got pretty beat up, but I think that's kind of what got me hooked on doing telemark skiing, just because it was such a challenge. It just pissed me off all the time, and I didn't want to fail at it, so I think I just kept beating myself up. I love coffee. I drink more coffee than I think is humanly possible on a daily basis, and it's really what keeps me going. And yeah, it's delicious. So I spent the last 7 years as an athlete, doing various projects with different companies in the telemark and the ski industry. And just this last year, I decided that it was kind of time for me to move on, and I still wanted to contribute to telemark skiing in my own way, but I felt that just kind of where I was at, maybe being an athlete wasn't exactly where I wanted to do that, just skiing. So I decided I had started Freeheel Life a few years back, and kind of figured that I never really gave it the attention it needed, and I wanted to actually, you know, spend the time to develop it and make it into a media source that telemark skiing would be, you know, people would be stoked to look at. And so that's kind of why I gave up the athlete thing and decided to move on to that, and hopefully it'll be as fun and rewarding as the athlete thing was for me, because that was pretty awesome. So hopefully I'll be able to continue to travel and hang out with the same type of people.
God, hear my prayer, show you're there for I wait, because I've stopped believing it, just everything.
Freeheellife.com I started about 4 years ago. I was skiing as an athlete for different companies, and you know, a lot of my friends in the ski industry were doing the same thing. And there really wasn't, with the exception of a few places you could kind of find information about telemark skiing, but no one was really showing a lot of cool photos or video. No one was really covering the competitions. And you know, it was hard. I never really had a lot of time to focus on it when I was an athlete, just because you're on such a shoestring budget, you're traveling, it was difficult. And but I decided to start it just as a way to kind of give information out about my friends and people that were doing stuff that I thought was cool. And I had no experience with web design or anything. I had a friend that I played in a band with that started the website for me, and I didn't even own a computer at the time. And I would go to the local library, and I had a 2-hour limit per day, and I would write the articles in Word on the computer, and then I would email them to my friend every week, and he would actually update the site for me. So it wasn't until recently that I actually started learning how to do it myself, and started running the site on my own. Music's influenced my lifestyle quite a bit. I was the oldest of 4 kids, And so early on when I was growing up, a lot of the music I listened to was records that, literally vinyl records that my dad had from the 70s. So I was introduced to a lot of old rock and roll and a lot of old folk bands like Crosby, Stills and Nash, and you know, I listened to a lot of Doors and The Who, things like that. So it's kind of the oldies but goodies. And then as I got into junior high, I started listening to a lot more obscure kind of alternative bands. I mean, this was before the internet, so a lot of it was just friends passing music along. And then as I got into high school, started getting into the Ramones and some punk rock. I was really into ska, sang in a band, and you know, music's a huge part of my life. I try to incorporate it in my skiing, and I you know, it's something I listen to every day, and I feel like it just music enhances a lot of my personality, and when I write music for myself, it kind of gives me an opportunity to express myself in my writing, and then kind of be able to put a background soundtrack to some of the words. Even though I'm not an amazing musician, it's always fun, a good way.
Lord, give me something, 'cause this will